Hi folks, Jack Malcolm here, and today I want to talk to you about sales planning. Now, I've been training salespeople for almost 30 years, and I've always been a huge proponent of planning at all levels of the sales process, from territory planning to key account planning to opportunity planning, and especially for sales call planning. Most salespeople don't plan as much as they should. Most of them, myself included, sometimes feel like we can fall back on our gift of gab and our ability to go with the flow when we're talking to customers, and most of the time we're right. But every time that I force myself to plan and every time that I force people in my classes to plan, they found that they are much better prepared as a result. Because planning helps you to think from the customer's point of view. It helps you to identify major gaps in your knowledge or your position and address those. And probably most importantly, it gives you that air of confidence and professionalism that customers appreciate. So I've always told salespeople the 5 P's of planning, which is proper planning prevents poor performance. On the other hand, just because planning is great medicine for poor sales results doesn't mean that more planning is necessarily better. So if you're part of that small minority of salespeople that take my thoughts to heart too much and actually do a little bit too much planning, I want to introduce you to the next 3 P's of planning, which is perfect plans are pointless. Let me explain why it's pointless to try to create a perfect plan. There's 4 reasons. First of all, the customer always has a vote. There's an old saying in military circles that no plan survives first contact with the enemy, and if you substitute the word customer for enemy, you get the idea. No matter how carefully you've thought about what you think the customer wants, no matter how carefully you've crafted your value proposition, you can walk in there and the customer will say, no, that's not what I want at all. Let me tell you what I want. And then you're starting back at square one. Second is you're never going to have perfect knowledge. Now, I'm a big proponent of outside-in thinking, of trying to put yourself in the customer's brain and see things from their point of view. But just as in a blog post that I wrote recently, as I've said, that nobody can really get into the head of somebody as well as they think they can. So even married couples who've been married for 10 years tend to overestimate their ability to predict what their spouse is going to say. So if they can't do that, you probably can't do that with your customer. Along the same lines, things change so rapidly in business today that if you spend too much time planning, a lot of the things that you planned on are going to become obsolete. It's kind of like painting the Golden Gate Bridge. By the time you get to one end of it, you have to start over on the other end. The third point is that planning can lock in your thinking. First of all, the more you refine your plan, the more you're taking out possibilities. So you're getting into a narrower and narrower point of view into the possibilities that can happen during that meeting, so you can get thrown for a loop when things happen that you haven't expected. And the other problem with that is that you tend to get so psychologically invested in the plan that it becomes your baby. And sometimes following the plan becomes more important than making the sale. I've seen salespeople totally ignore buying signals from the customer because they've got 4 more actions they need to accomplish on a sales call, while the customer is basically almost screaming, saying, hey, take my money, please. So don't get yourself locked in. And a final reason that perfect plans are pointless is that it can become dangerous in tricking you into thinking that you're actually making progress. All that time you're spending on the activities of researching the customer, filling out your call plans, crafting the perfect questions are definitely important, but they're activities. They're not necessarily, in fact, they're not actually moving you through the sales cycle at all. So they are only the precursor to the real business of sales, which is getting in front of customers, communicating with them in such a way that you help them make buying decisions. So the more time that you spend not doing that, the more time that you spend not moving the opportunity through the sales cycle. Or maybe it is moving through the sales cycle, but it's moving through because of somebody else's plan. So in summary, I don't want you to ditch planning altogether. I still strongly believe in the 5 P's of planning, but also remember the other 3 P's of planning. Perfect plans are pointless. And remember another business saying is that it's better to be roughly right than precisely wrong.